Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. And yes, we're going to talk about Harvey Weinstein's case being overthrown. Now when I reflect back on this whole thing, y'all, I think this was the plan all along. I think the day that he went behind bars, they told him just hold tight for a few years and he would be out of there. I really believe that happened. I don't believe this just got overturned out of the blue. I think they had this whole thing planned out from day one. If he went in there, he would only be in there for a few short years and they'll find a way to get him completely out. I really think that's what it is. These folks do these things all the time. And if you see something happen like this, that means it was planned well ahead. It was, you know, And I mean, because look at it. When Black men go to jail for crimes they never committed, it takes them several decades to get around to overturning their convictions and getting them out of jail. By the time, if they're young men going in, they're going to be senior citizens coming out. That's how it is for our men. This man was only in there for a handful of years. And all of a sudden they're overturning it. Come on, this was all planned. It was all planned from the beginning. So let's get into it. So Harvey Weinstein, his crime conviction thrown out by New York High Court. And yes, do you believe people got paid off? I sure do. I sure believe folks got paid off, including this judge that couldn't wait to sit down and overturn the whole thing. So the court, in a divided ruling, said the trial judge committed fundamental errors, including admitting testimony that should not have been allowed. But y'all think about this. When our men are in prison, yes, I'm making the comparison and got every right to do it. When our men are convicted and people falsify their testimony, they still don't let them out right away. Some of these people give false testimony. You got bad eyewitnesses. They'll point at the wrong guy in a lineup. All of those things happen, right? But their convictions still don't get overturned for several decades. So they're saying some of the people that testified should not have testified. Well, that happens to our people all the time, especially our men that get hosed up in these prisons for no reason. Okay. So they go on to say that the remedy for these egregious errors is a new trial, the court said. A New York jury had found, Weinstein guilty of third degree rape in 2013. All right. So you're talking about 9 years ago, and that's still nothing. Look, go look at the last exoneration article that came out. 30 years. Okay, 9 years looks pretty easy compared to 30 years or 40 years or even 50 years. 9 years seems awfully easy. So, anyway, he allegedly had, did something with aspiring actress Jessica Mann against her will. Jurors found him guilty of first degree criminal act stemming from accusations that he forced OS on production assistant Miriam Haley in 2006. Now, Lupita came forward and she made a claim against Harvey. And you know what he said, y'all? I mean, it just goes to show you. He said he was shocked that anybody would believe Lupita. I know y'all got it all rigged up so that, us melanated people are not believed, but whether you are convinced or not, we are believed. We are. You know why we know we're believed? Because, see, you wouldn't have to rig things up if we were lying. The fact that you got everything rigged up, you know we're telling the truth. And you got all kinds of things in place so that we just can't get anywhere with that truth. But you know we're telling the truth. You don't have to rig up a person that's lying. You would just let the lie ride. But if that person is telling the truth, you'll do everything you can to make sure that truth don't get heard. Or you'll just step in and try to lie about the person's character so that they're not believed. But deep down inside, in order for you to do those things, you know what that person is telling you is true. All right. So, but that's what he said about Lupita. But she was believed because it was just too many women saying the same thing. So, anyway, he was sentenced to 23 years and they're already trying to overturn him after barely 9 years. Thursday ruling won't make Weinstein, 72 years old, a freed man. In a separate case, a California jury convicted Weinstein in 2022. And, of grape and other offenses. He was sentenced to 16 years. We will do everything in our power to retry this case and maintain steadfast in our commitment to survivors, one spokeswoman said at Manhattan District Attorney's Office. A Weinstein representative did not immediately respond for a request for a comment. So the Oscar winning producer empire fell when dozens of women, including Hollywood actresses, came forward to accuse him of misconduct. The allegations sparked a movement that placed a spotlight on persuasive harassment in many industries. Writing for 4-3 majority Thursday, Judge Jenny Rivera said the trial court improperly allowed testimony from women who spoke about alleged past acts by Weinstein that weren't charged in this case. So, in other words, women he violated before, but they really wasn't part of the case. So, anyway, under our system of justice, the accused have the right to be held accountable only for the crimes charged. Thus, allegations of prior bad acts may not be admitted against him for the sole purpose of establishing their propensity for criminality, Rivera wrote. Dissenting judges said the ruling endangered decades of progress in S crimes. With today's decision, the court continues to thwart the stead gains of survivors. All right. So Weinstein, co-founder of Miramax and Weinstein Company, was one of the most powerful and successful producers in Hollywood for decades, producing lucrative and award-winning films such as Pulp Fiction and Shakespeare in Love. As women came forward accusing him, Hollywood insiders was an open secret. So they said people knew, but it was like an open secret that he engaged in many inappropriate and manipulative acts. Weinstein has been in custody at the Mohawk Correctional Facility in New York, according to the State Department of Corrections. And, so it looks like they may have a new trial since they're overturning his conviction. It looks like they're going to have a new trial. So, y'all, this thing, it may not go anywhere at this point. And it just goes to show you if the criminal justice system in this country was so reliable and so good and it was working like it should, would any of these things be happening? No, it's not a good system. And they know it's not a good system. It's a very unfair system. One thing I know about living in this society, and many of you know as well, These folks don't care about being fair. They never have. They're fair in words only. But when it comes down to actions, their actions speaks a whole different language. They are very unconcerned about being fair. So when you see cases like this come up, I'm not surprised that they're overturning it, and who knows what's going to happen in the next trial. You may have the same people that testified the first time that were part of the case refuse to come back and testify. You know, you can have a lot of things happen, especially in his favor. But we're just looking at privileges once again. If they felt this was unfair and people got up and testified that shouldn't have testified, then why didn't anybody do their job back then? Where was the prosecutor when folks were getting up on the stand and testifying they shouldn't have been testifying? Where was the judge? Where I mean, why did everybody fail to do their job? That's the real question right there. You know, no, you don't worry about these things because you were never going to let him sit there that long anyway. Oh, I believe that, Danny Kelly. I believe it. I think all the stories that came out about him was true. And I really think they hated that they had to go after this man. They really didn't want to bother him at all. Because, I mean, what was he doing it for? Like, what, 30 years? It was a long, long time that he was doing these things. So, that right there tells you they really didn't want to do anything at all. Mm-hmm. Well, one thing about this whole case, it was funny because before he was convicted, he was, there were all kinds of footage of him walking around and he seemed just fine. The moment he had to go to court, y'all remember he walked in there with a walker. All of a sudden, he needed a wheelchair, he needed a walker, he couldn't get in there on his own 2 feet. Yeah, I remember that. Mhm. No, I mean, he had relatives, I believe Harvey Weinstein, but they didn't say nothing about his brother, but he had a brother that was working in the industry. He probably still is working in the industry, but he wasn't convicted of anything. He had his own family members out there working in Hollywood. Stay positive. Thank you for the super chat. TY4 being an important voice in new black media. Oh, okay. Thank you for being an important voice in the new black media. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. Mhm. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about him and his wife divorcing, so I would assume they're still married. Well, he's not getting out, but right now they threw out the conviction he had in New York. He had another conviction in California. So he was convicted in more than one state. I believe he got sentenced to 16 years in California and 23 years in New York. Mhm. Well, I mean, that's the thing, it's amazing how fast they were able to figure out, okay, well, maybe he didn't get a fair trial, but like I said, I'm just amazed at how well y'all do that on purpose. Whenever you see something too many times over and over and over, just like the exoneration, they're doing all that mess on purpose. They're doing it on purpose. Okay, let me see. Panther Jones, if they threw out the charges, New York, they want to go out the charges in LA. Well, the charges in LA have not come up so far, just New York, just his conviction in New York. But as far as LA is concerned, nothing about the California courts have come up so far. That doesn't say that it won't come up sometime in the near future. It is just for now. Hey, the one LVZ, they did that on purpose. Yeah, I believe so too. I believe so too. I think they sat on it for a while just to make it look like they were punishing him. But in all honesty, I think they had this plan all along. I really do. Lisa Parker, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Queen, for the amazing work you do. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's just the charges that he got in New York. This is not all of them because, like I said, California is also included. He was tried out there as well. They haven't said anything about those charges so far, but just the ones in New York have been thrown out. Well, it's true when they say the biggest criminals are the ones walking around outside of the prison. And that is the truth. Mhm. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, some people, no, it wouldn't be far fetched if the California charges come up. I mean, look, this happened. We never may not hear about it until summer, where they take another look at the California case and determine he didn't get a fair trial there either. With these folks, you never know. Hmm. Yeah. So, y'all, I just wanted to give you this update. I'm sure nobody is surprised over this happening. I had my doubts from the very beginning that Harvey Weinstein would be serving all of his time. I really, in the back of my mind, I was like, I bet you he won't even serve all of this time that he got on him. So, they could do a retrial and then say time already served. You know what I mean? They could do another trial and just say time already served. Mhm. So, everybody, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for being here. And we'll certainly come back again and do it. Tomorrow, I do have my one on one live stream with my members. So if you are a member, what I might do this time around is just a reminder video and get that out to all of you. That way people don't miss it because I know a couple of people were a little upset that they missed the first members only live stream I did. So what I will do is I'll try to maybe when I wake up in the morning, I'll put it out first thing. That way you have it well ahead and you have the link to get into it. So, everybody, thank you for being here. Be on the lookout for my videos. And I see another super chat came in. Lisa Parker, thank you. You are whatever I get my real news from. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lisa. All right, everybody. Shalom, family.